Ah, this I was going to share in a future video, but I think I'm going to share this one today. I am revealing today what I keep in my main notion stashers, both in my quilt room and in my home. And there are two that we come across that I'm going to need your help with in figuring out a little bit more information about them. So grab your cup of your favorite beverage and enjoy. Hi quilty friends, welcome back. As quilters, we love our notions, and if you're like me, you probably have like little stations that have like different type of notions all around your quilt space. So today I thought I would share some of my little notion stashers or stations that I have around my quilt room with you today, so you can kind of see what type of tools and notions that I have. And as many as I can, I'll put links to them down below in the description. So I'm going to start with this one. I keep this next to my sewing machines. It kind of lives between the two of them. And so it's going to be a little bit more centered towards what I would be using when I'm sewing. So I have a pair of scissors. These are Karen Buckley's. I think these are like a mid-range scissor. And then I have a micron pen. I'll use this to when I'm making labels, or if I just need to make like a little mark or something. This doesn't come out, so I think it's really just there to make notes, or if I need to draw something. I have a bias tape maker. Now these come in a pack. I think this is like a 9 size, or is it a 6? Either way, so I keep that next to my machine. I have this random thing. I think this is for thread. It came in like a freebie thing that I got. I have yet to figure out what it's used for. I think you're supposed to put it around your bobbin, but it's pretty small. So if you have any idea what this is, oh, now I know what this is. You put this down in your, oh, I know what this is. So you put this down in your spool, and then I think you're supposed to hook your bobbin or something on top of this. Yeah. But so that crazy thing, I haven't quite figured out what it is. If you know what it is, put it down in the description what this is. It looks too tiny to go around a bobbin. So if you know what that is, let me know. Ah, this I was going to share in a future video, but I think I'm going to share this one today. So this item, I have not quite used it yet. Or have I? Yeah, I think I have used this. You use this to help thread your sewing machine. And what it is, you know those little plastic clips that you get on bags of like bread and things? I saw this tip somewhere. If you put this behind the eye of the needle on your sewing machine, it makes it easier for you to thread your machine. So I've tried it. It works really well. I have a self-threading sewing machine, so I haven't had a chance to use it a lot. But the next time you get one of these little plastic clips off of a bag of food product of some sort, take it up to your quilt room and use it. So, yeah. Little brush for my sewing machine for maintenance. This is one of my favorite tools, the purple thing. This is a stiletto. I use this to kind of hold down my fabrics when I'm moving it through my sewing machine. Yeah, so this is really handy. And I actually use both sides of this. So I tend to use this side the square side of it. But that's on here. Screwdriver for my sewing machine. So you see there's a lot of maintenance tools. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my water erasable pen. I really like this because it has a really fine tip on it. And yeah, so this one I keep by my machine. What else is on here? Oh, I have 2 things of oil for my sewing machine. And then I have a bunch of these cleaners. These I've got at a quilter's tea I went to. So these are homemade. But those are really nice. And then I have my heat friction pen. And then I have 2 rotary cutters. I like to keep these, like when I need to trim something up, so I don't have to get up. So I keep my, I think this is my 28 and my 18 next to my machine. And then I have a little brush for my sewing machine. Oh, I think there's another one here. There's 2. They're different from different machines. Clean the lint out. I like to keep my machines clean. Oh, this thing. This came in a mystery bag. I went to a quilter's tea and they would give you a bag. I think they were like $1 or something, or 50 cents or something. And then it had a bunch of random mystery like notions. And this came in that. And what you use this for is, do you know what you would use this for? So when you have a piece of fabric and you need to turn it right side out, like if you're making a handle for a bag or something like that, this is what you would do. Is I'd take a safety pin, I stick it through this hole. There's a little hole. And what I do is I hook that to the fabric and I hook it to this, and then I use this to turn it right side out. I love this. This was so worth whatever we paid for that little mystery bag. This was great. Yeah, love it. This is then my other turning tool. This is from Clover. I'll put this down in description as well. And then, I don't know if you get, sometimes you get like little things that come with your moisturizers or makeup or things like that. I have this little roller. It came with some moisturizing cream that I got. And I was like, well, this is really nice. And I keep this next to my sewing machine to just do a little pressing of my fabric. It works really well. So this I can't really put a link to. This just came free with some moisturizer. I keep a pen to jot down any notes. And then this I did a video on. I've talked about this a couple times if you've not seen it. I have a cork, but I use the cork to put my seam ripper in. And then that stashes into here. I just kind of wedge it down into here. So seam ripper and the cork. And then I have some glue. I use this to help when I'm making like when I'm doing snowballs, or if I'm doing like half square triangles. I use this to help keep my pieces in place. So I use a little bit of glue. So that's why this is next to my machine. And then there's just some random caps and things like that that are in here for seam rippers and scissors. And then this little thing, this is this, it's Sew Emma. It's what is this? Stash and Stow. They come in different sizes and different colors. I think there's large, medium, and small. So these are this is really nice. And then the other thing is the Cluck Cluck Sew seam tape, or a 1/4 inch guide tape. So you use this, you put this on your sewing machine to help with lining up your fabric so you can get a good 1/4 inch seam on your piece when you're piecing. I can't find my words today. But this is really handy stuff to have. So that's that. So that's everything that I keep next to one of my sewing machines. And then I have this little thing here. This came as a kit. I bought it at a quilt shop, and I've seen them in other quilt shops where they're pre-made. But you can make it yourself as well. And it comes with a little stand. I really like this because I can put some notions and stuff on this, and I'll actually take this when I go sometimes to quilting classes because it kind of stands up and it doesn't take a lot of space up. But I do have my 45 millimeter rotary cutter. And then remember that other thing that I just showed you? It has a friend. So here's that. So there was 2 of them in there. Now, if you're out there, you know, this is, you know, I don't know how, I know this is old. I just don't know how old. And maybe I'm using it for something that's not what the intent is, because this one actually has 2 holes on the top. So I'm not really sure why it's got 2 and the other one just has 1. Okay, so I was editing this video for what's in my quilt notions that I have stashed all over my quilt space. And I'm watching the video, and we get to this particular tool, and I was like, as I was watching it, then it came to me. I was like, oh, I know what these are for now. It just took me a while. So these 2 items that I shared with you. The reason it's got the 2 holes on there is you use this to pull elastic through, and you hook the elastic through these loops. Now I've tried that. I actually just find it's easier just to hook it on with a pin, but that's what you can do. You just loop the elastic through there, and I'm guessing that's. But like, if you have like any more details around these, or like the history or that, I would love to, please let me know down in the description. I would really appreciate it. This is another really handy thing. This is a Choco line marker. This is from Clover. I use this predominantly when I'm making designs for quilting, like you're doing your quilting, because it has like a little roller on the end and it just rolls a line of chalk. And then this is all full of chalk in here. And you can actually get refills and fill it back up when it's empty. So it's really nice. It's not like a once and throw it away type of thing. So that's in here. And then again, I also in here, I keep, again, another cork with my seam ripper in here. I have another pen. Now, this stand lives on the table that kind of sits in the middle of my room, so this one's going to be a little bit more centered around cutting and piecing and things like that. And then I have 2 water erasable pens in here, one blue and one in white. The white's, you know, to mark up darker fabrics. These are new additions. I like them. Another pair of Karen Buckley scissors. I don't think we can ever have too many scissors. I have scissors like all around my quilt room because it just makes life easier. And then if you do foundation paper piecing, which I really enjoy doing, these 2 rulers are really helpful when you're doing that. This is add an 1/8 ruler. And they have like a little ridge on here. And that just helps when you're doing the foundation paper piecing technique. And then this is add a quarter. I use this one most of the time. I took a foundation paper piecing class, and that's what I'll use this one. But these come as a set, so I have both. And then I have these other 2 rulers. This set actually has a friend. There's 3 that come in the set. There's another one that's in the middle. I'm not sure where it's at. It's somewhere, probably at another little stash of notions somewhere in the quilt room, or maybe it might be in the drawer with the rulers. But these are really handy when you're making like half square triangles, and then, you know, you have this seam down the middle when you're laying it down and you're drawing 1/4 inch on either side. So these are both 1/4 inch rulers. These are from OmniGrid. I used them in the video where I showed you how to make a bowl cozy. So if you want to check that video out, I can put a link to it up here. You can go check that out and use those. And then I have a Hera marker, just, you know, to make marks on your fabric. And I also have, I really like these. This is a needle minder, if you can see that. It has like a little magnetic piece that goes behind it. And then because it's magnetic, your needles will just stick right to it. This one was a kind of a gift when I bought something from the Featherweight shop, which is one of my favorite shops to buy stuff from. So I'll put a link to them down below as well. They have lots of nice things. Not a big shop, but what they do have is really nice. And then in the whole, so here's what the little stand thing looks like. And then looks like I have a needle with some thread in it. And then I have a double-sided needle. I talked about this in one of my pressing videos. This is really handy when you want to pin on either side of a seam. These are nice to have. And then just a regular old pin. But this is what this little thing looks like. It comes with the metal stand, and then there's 2 big pockets on the bottom, and then some pockets, like you have 2 rows of pockets above. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's where it was. Well, I found it. Yep, so here's the whole set. Just in case you wanted to see it. If you want to know more about notions, if you're starting out for quilting, I have a whole video on a whole bunch of different notions and things that you should have based on if you're a beginner or if you've been quilting for a while. I will put a link to that at the end of this video. But for now, I wish you all well, and most of all, be quilty.